We're here today with the amazing Kerri Walsh-Jennings, a three-time Olympic gold medalist champion, the beach volleyball career leader in victories, and the most decorated player in sports history. She's also known as 6 Feet of Sunshine. Thanks for joining us, Kerri.
Oh, thank you for having me. You nailed it. And I have to put a little hyphen by the winningest player in my sport because I'm the winningest female. But I have huge aspirations of becoming the winningest, period.
I'm sure you do.
I'm creeping. So
I think you'll get it. I just
have to have some tournaments to compete in, and then I have a shot.
I know. Hopefully things can get back to normal sooner rather than later.
Yeah, a better normal. And yes, I'm praying for that every day.
Exactly. And as I mentioned, your nickname is 6 Feet of Sunshine. Can you share with us where that originated?
Oh, well, my boyfriend at the time, Casey Thomas, who's now been my husband for almost 15 years, and we've been together for 20. He called me that. And that was it made me fall in love with him.
Wow.
Actually, it helped me. And then the media picked up, and then it was used in my sport. And I was like, I'd rather be a killer or some, gnarly, but I'll take 6 Feet of Sunshine because I was raised to kill people with kindness. And I truly do aspire to be a light in this world. So my best days, I am 6 Feet of Sunshine.
Well, that's awesome. I think it's a beautiful nickname. And speaking of beautiful, you have 3 beautiful children, Sundance, Scout, and Joey. From looking at your Instagram, it seems like they keep you pretty busy with different activities. Can you share with us which activities each one of them like the most?
Oh, heck, Jared, my kids, I thought I was busy before kids. One idiot, my kids are just the best part of me, and it's pretty amazing. They're the best part of life times a billion. And me trying to become the woman, the mom, the parent that I believe they deserve. It's so inspiring every day. And so it's really fun. Joey's our oldest. He's 11. And I kid you not, I'm not being dramatic. He is my favorite athlete of all time. He just has it that Jordan has. And I think there's only one Jordan in the world in any sport. He's it. I swear to you, my son has something like that. And it's just beautiful. He is a champion.
Wow.
And in sports.
In sports, yeah. Well, I was later going to ask that. I saw on your Instagram that you guys seem to have some pretty epic one-on-one volleyball matches in the yard. So I was going to ask if he plans to follow in you and your husband's footsteps.
Man, he's a trailblazer. I don't know. That kid's going to go wherever he wants to go with all his heart. And I think that's his magic. His whole heart is in there. Mm-hmm. And I watched The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, amazing series. You're in Chicago, you get it.
Yeah.
And it was so rad. There's one point where someone was speaking to the greatness of Jordan, and they said, it's not what you think it is. It's not the talent or the work ethic necessarily. It's his ability to be 100% present.
Exactly.
And that's the magic sauce for all of us. If we could do that, then the greatness in each of us will live there. Mm-hmm. And I think my son does that very well. And certainly I want to be like Mike, and I want to be like Joe. So I'm working on that every day. Our Sundance Thomas, he's 10, and man, he's part mystic, part space cadet. Mm-hmm. He's so wise, and he says these profound things. And then on the other hand, I'm like, kid, wake up. Where are you? He's hilarious, but he's super into art. He's super into sports as well. Basketball is his love, whereas soccer is Joey's love. He loves music a lot. And then our Scoutie, she's 7, and she just loves humans. She loves humans. Oh, she's a lover. Yeah, she's such a good hugger and a lover, and she's just a happy little girl. She skips everywhere. She loves her family, and she's super independent. She knows what she wants. She knows who she is, and I hope that never goes away because it's powerful. Wow. So I'm sweating talking about my kids. I love them. They're my best teachers ever.
That's awesome. I can tell. Speaking of Sundance, you mentioned that he played basketball, and of course I played basketball. I saw that he put Kobe Bryant's last name on the back of his jersey, back of his number 24 jersey. I thought that was pretty special.
Right. And did you see the writing? He did it all on his own. He didn't ask.
Yeah.
I probably would have said, no, you might get in trouble. I'm so glad he didn't ask. And yeah, man, that whole week when we lost Kobe, my kids would just draw pictures of him.
Yeah.
And they would honor him in certain ways. My daughter made myself and herself a necklace that said Kobe.
Wow.
And there was a heart, and just Kobe's a big presence in our lives. And in my opinion, he's too alive to be gone. You know, we're going to keep him
Yeah.
present forever. And, you know, I think of his family, my heart is just torn in a million pieces, but I know they're strong and they have their faith, and God bless them, you know?
Yeah. Well, he was definitely my favorite player, and I'm sure Sundance will play through, you know, everything that he knows about Kobe. Is he liking the sport so far, at least?
He totally. He
Okay.
likes it because he can practice on his own a lot.
Okay, good.
You know, and we've watched a lot of videos of Kobe, and you know, he's on his court all the time, and he was working on these little moves and the, you know, the details of the game. And my boy, he's really visual, so he likes to see someone do it and then go practice on his own. Yeah, and so him and yourself picked a great role model, because
That's
Kobe
awesome.
is just legit.
That's awesome. Well, it's great to hear about your kids a little bit, and I'm sure they look up to you. And I'm sure when you were a kid, you looked up to your parents, your father, who was a minor league baseball player, and your mother, who was a college volleyball player. How has it been having parents who are both athletes benefited you on your journey and your development throughout the duration of your sports career?
You know, I was just home in Northern California, and I got to hang out with him for 2 weeks. And I told my dad, we went on a bike ride, and I told him, I was like, Dad, one of the greatest gifts that you guys gave to me, I think to all of us, not only like you guys worked really hard for your marriage,
Yeah,
right? And you fought, because, you know, there's ups and downs, and we all know how relationships can go, but they fought their
I
tushy,
know. Yep.
you know, right? Yep. Love is amazing. But I was like, outside of that, I think the biggest gift you gave to us is that we witnessed you competing.
Hmm.
And they were like, they played in a lot of co-ed leagues, bowling, volleyball, softball. They were gnarly.
Hmm.
And every weekend, and probably once or twice a week for most of my childhood until I was like 14, we went and watched them compete.
Wow.
And watching people you love and respect and trust so much, like, fight for something with so much joy. And if you know my family, like, they are all lions, competitors. They are not going to go down without a fight. And
Yeah.
I got to see that, witness it my whole life. So that was a huge gift for me, and it certainly impacted me 100%. You know, competition is not a dirty word in my family.
Mhm.
It makes you better, you know, and it makes you want things, and it makes you accountable, you know, because if you want to be a great teammate, you have to show up. And my mom's one of 8, my dad's one of 4. And so the team mindset has been in my life from day one. You
Wow.
know, like, we're all utility players. We don't specialize because no one has time for that. You know, we just fill in
Exactly.
the gaps. And so I think their mindset, their faith certainly, and then their background in sports, which their parents and siblings all had,
Mhm.
definitely is generational. It's been passed on to us and now our kids. And I can't wait for the chain to keep going.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. I love that. And I have to take this time to give your mom a personal shout out just because of the fact that she attended Santa Clara University. With
So
me
good.
being with me being an alum of Santa Clara University, I have to give her a shout out and tell her I said go Broncos.
Oh, that's rad. Well, you know what? Yeah, I have a lot of family who went there. My grandfather, my mom's dad is actually in the Hall of Fame there.
Oh wow.
He played in the Rose Bowl. He was a track star. They called him the Splendid Splinter.
Oh my
He was
God.
skinny and like just lightning fast. So huge legacy there.
Wow.
Actually, you probably know this, super sidetrack, but my family owns the Pink and the Blue House. Do you, do you know it's like a notorious,
Is it
like,
there like on the campus?
it's like off-campus housing, but I
Okay.
guess it's just notorious.
It's
Okay, so you
the,
don't know that, but for
ah.
all kinds of activities that we probably don't want to know.
Well, I feel bad that I don't know, but the thing is that I was out there a lot, but I never really paid attention to the names of the
Oh,
house.
you're funny. I
But
think it's the colors, but who knows?
yeah, it's probably close to Bellamy Street, which is where a lot of things happen on campus.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm
Lots
sure
of
that I've seen the house.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, but no, what a great spot. I mean, well, you know, like, being in the Bay Area is such an inspiring place, you
Yeah.
know, and I love Santa Clara. Had you said you were a Trojan or a USC Trojan or a Bear, I might be like, but because I went to Stanford, you know, but what a great place to go to college. My goodness.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mentioned that your mother went to Santa Clara University, and like you just said, you attended Stanford University. Although I consider them a rival, I know that it's an amazing school to attend. What made you choose Stanford over the other schools during your recruiting process?
You know, I think I just made up my mind when I was 10 that I wanted to go there. You know, it was crazy. Like, because we have such a legacy at Santa Clara, you can't go wrong, truly, in the Bay Area, you know. But for some reason, Stanford just stood out to me as, you know, the volleyball program there was very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Volleyball was my love, you know, it was my focus. And so I think that, combined with the way my parents spoke about it, you know, kind of no disrespect to Stanford or to Santa Clara, that's amazing university, but Stanford is just the pinnacle, with regard to academic excellence combined with athletic excellence. And so I think, and I started going to camps there when I was really young. So I think it was just kind of the perfect combination of it got in my eyesight very early. I daydreamed about it. My parents would take us there to go watch games. And it just became a dream that I chased very early on.
Well, speaking of you saying you've gone to camps there, my girlfriend, I just have to say this, my girlfriend used to go to the camps at Stanford because she used to be a volleyball player. And she said she was just in love with you. And like when she was in high school and, you write, who you want to meet, when you grow up or whatever, like she was like, you were always the first person that she wrote down. So I just had to give her that shout out.
I like your girl.
Thank you.
Man, it's crazy, Jared. Like that stuff just like makes my eyes water and just makes me want to go be better, So thank you for sharing that. Cause I've had those people in my life, where I'm like, man, that person, man, woman, boy, girl, like makes me want to be better and makes me think I can. And so thank you for sharing that.
No problem. I'm sure going to Stanford was worth it, given the fact that you received a great education and that you won back-to-back titles in 1996 and 1997. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah. And you also continued your great career after that. You won your first gold medal in Athens in 2004, your second gold medal in Beijing in 2008, and your third gold medal in London in 2012. Do any of these gold medals mean more than the others?
Oh man, no, it can't. It just,
one that means more though.
The one that's yet to come. It's just like a building upon.
Yeah.
Like my first Olympic experience, I got fourth. That experience was so meaningful to me, and it set me up for 04.
Yeah.
And 04 like turned me into this new beast that the journey to 08, like it all just kind of flows.
Yeah.
So I don't think I could pick anyone that stands out because man, the amount of life and lessons and growth that happens within those 4 years are just, that's who I am today, right? All of those failings and the misery and the pain and the triumphs and the joy. That being said, winning in London as a mama was, I mean, literally it was just the biggest dream come true.
Yeah.
Dream upon dream. My daughter was in my tummy, really, really early pregnant. And it was just kind of just a wild story that with a happy ending. But I believe, on the way to Tokyo, which now we're 1 year out.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if that dates this podcast, but it's just, I'm so happy to be talking to you because I want to live in victory every day. I want to talk out loud about these things I want to do and who I want to become, because I believe speaking your dreams and speaking what you want, like there's a level of accountability that comes to it, and it's motivating to hear myself speak about these things. So I'm grateful for today, but I believe the road to Tokyo is going to be the best ever. I'm determined and devoted to the journey. Because I know, having lived 5 Olympic experiences, that it's not about the end result. Like if I can take care of my moment and be like Michael Jordan and my son Joey, and you are so present, if I can be present in as many moments as possible, I'm literally creating my future and I'm creating the end result right now.
Yeah.
So if I could be that way in every training session, whether it's video or on the court or off the court, if I could do that with a good attitude and, live in victory, then I like my chances,
Well, you're inspiring us. You're giving us the keys to success. Like I'm taking it all in. So I can't wait for my viewers to see this because I think you're giving us great stuff today.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I'm living it. And just let me just preface by saying everything I'm saying to you are things that I know I need to work on.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect. I feel sometimes I'm like, why the heck am I doing these podcasts? Like I am not the expert. I'm maybe the expert in me, but I know how much of a poop show I am. But I think the one thing that makes me comfortable sharing these things with you is that I'm talking to myself.
Exactly.
I'm talking to you.
And that's great to do. That's great to do.
Oh, totally. Well, I heard it's more powerful to talk to yourself in the second person. Maybe you'll listen to yourself. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, exactly.
Well, after the 2012 Olympics, your former partner, Misty May Trainer, retired. You then teamed up with April Ross, and you guys were able to win bronze at the 2016 Olympics. I think as spectators, we're often amazed at the strength, resiliency, and consistency that we see in great professional athletes such as LeBron James, Serena Williams, Michael Phelps, and yourself. What do you think is the leading factor and why you're able to continue to play and dominate at the level in which you do so?
Fundamentally, like the bottom, like the very bottom of my period is love. Like
Wow.
I just have so much love for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that love and and then so the love is the foundation, and then I have deep meaning in the pursuit.
Mm.
And when you have deep meaning and purpose in whatever you're pursuing, I just feel like you're fortified for the journey, you
Mm.
know. And my purpose is greater than the sport. My purpose, I think, in this life is to develop myself to be the best I can be, to be a light, to be an example,
Mm.
to take everything that God gave me and max it out, which I don't believe you can ever max it out. But that's what my quest is forever. And the Olympic platform has given me these bites of 4-year periods where I get to become someone greater and better along the way.
Mhm.
And so I think that love, along with my purpose to become the best human I could be, through this platform of sport, just keeps me going. Like
Mhm.
I am so far from, I know where I can be as an athlete and as a human.
Yeah.
And that's fun. It used to piss me off. It used to like make me insecure, you know, my limitations and my lack. But now there's this really powerful quote that I love, or just a saying, and it says, provoked to change. And
Mhm.
when I think of my potential, it's like my potential is provoking me. And it's
Wow.
like, Kerri, like this is not meant to defeat you. It's meant to be exciting. So
Mhm.
be curious about your potential. And again, since I've lived 5 Olympic experiences, I've lived the good, the bad. I'll never do that again. I want to replicate that. All this potential, I just want to I want to love it. And I want to love myself. And I just wanted to fuel the curiosity of what I could be fuels me every single day. And I want to live in that space.
Yeah.
Whereas on the road to Rio, you know, I don't know, like it was more of a physical pursuit
Yeah.
because my partner and I were so physical. Like we were the best team in the world, I think mentally and physically,
Yeah.
but emotionally we had this gap.
Mhm.
And if you have any gap in the pursuit when the world is so good, when
Yeah.
things get hard, that gap's going to get a little bit bigger.
Correct.
You know, Misty and I always came together. We
Yes.
were like
We
body,
saw
mind,
that. We saw that for sure. Yeah.
right? And it's so hard to talk about because these are fluffy things. But to me, if you're emotionally connected to yourself and your partner,
Mhm.
you are a ninja. You are a Jedi. You can withstand and endure.
Mhm.
And so that's what I want. You know, I again, Rio was such a beautiful, powerful experience. That bronze pisses me off, but it also makes me so proud. And I want to take those lessons and the learnings and make this journey to Tokyo, which again, I get 1 more year to do, to
Mhm.
make it the best and most rewarding ever. Because I want that fairy tale ending. I want to piece out with another gold medal,
Yeah.
and totally satisfied, you know, not relieved, but like ready and satisfied.
Correct. Well, you have more energy than ever. I can definitely tell. My next question was going to be, is there anything else you want to achieve in the sport before retiring? But I'll take the word retiring out because I know you've been talking about how, you know, you don't see yourself retiring quite yet and you want to play as long as possible. But is there anything else in the game that you would like to accomplish?
I want to win that 4th gold medal. Like literally, I think like 2 days after the bronze in Rio, I was like, babe, I cannot see myself retiring as anything less than a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, you know? And I don't mean to say like, be that snarky or like kind of just an arrogant person. Like, I just believe I can do that. And my partner, Brooke, like together we can be magic. And so that's what I want to do. I want to be the winningest,
Mhm.
not because like of a plaque I'll get on the wall, but because it just means that we became what I knew we could become.
Mhm.
And we won along the way to winning the ultimate. You
Yeah.
know, like people, like some people around the world, like just focus on 2 tournaments the whole year and they don't really care about the other ones. They'll focus on world champs and the Olympics.
Mhm.
And for me, I'm like, that makes me insecure. Like, I don't know how to peak. I just want to keep ascending, you know? So I think the journey too, and getting into the habit of winning consistently, and if you lose, like you just like make it your mission to soak everything out of it. Like I want to win and win and win and then win it all, you
Correct.
know, right? And it's just, I got away from that habit at some point and I don't know how or why. I think the humbling experience I had in Rio threw me for a loop and
Mhm.
I kind of had to redefine who I was.
Yeah.
And I think the blessing of the devastation of Rio was that I realized how I really did identify myself as a winner, you know, and just as a gamer. And I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And that shook me to my core. And so I had to go back to the fundamentals of me as a human, you know, and love myself for all my failings and all these things. Cause there was so much shame after that, like
Yeah.
so much shame,
Mhm.
you know, and I wasn't going to retire after that. No way.
There's no way. There's no way that was
No
happening.
way. And so, anyhow, I'm fueled, I'm motivated, and retirement will come. I just have learned that you never know. Like, look at what we're in right now, like coronavirus, like it's just, I just never want to put anything in stone because I'm a dancer, I'm an athlete, I'm nimble, I'm a parent. You got to live this way. And I just want to live truly. And then retirement will come when I'm ready if I live that way.
Correct. That's awesome. And I'm glad that you leave your foundation with love. I think that's awesome. I think that, if I haven't done that already, then I will do that moving forward because I think that's the best way to go about things in life, for sure.
I agree, man.
Well, I've mentioned a couple of your partners, Misty May Trainer and April Ross. What is it that you look for when choosing a partner, and what are you looking forward to most in your partnership with Brooke Sweat at this upcoming Olympics?
Well, Brooke is a champion. I don't know how I got so lucky to have the most amazing humans to play with. If you look at my high school career, my collegiate career, indoor national team, and then on the beach, it's just been blessings on blessings. My life partner, my husband, my children, the humans in my life are just everything. So what I look for, it's kind of just that heart. Like I all things volleyball being equal, everyone's physical, everyone, can play the game. When you're kind of at the top, like the pool is not that big.
Yeah.
So what you're looking for and who will complement you craft wise. But to me, what's more important is really the intangibles that you can't really stat, the grit, the willingness to push yourself to learn and grow and try new things, the perseverance through all of it, the willingness to talk about winning, to take ownership when you lose, like all of these things that make you able to be powerful in your life. It's exactly how it is in sport, so the heart and the drive and the focus and the ability to show up consistently. That's what I look for more than anything. Misty had that times a million, April times a million, and Brookie 100% has it. She's like my little secret weapon because she's so unassuming, and she will just slice and dice you and you won't even know what's happened to you. And she'll do that, so, there's something that with every partner, I heard this quote, I think before the last Olympics, and it's like every new person, every person in your life brings out a different beast inside of you. And that's so true. When I think of the way I was with Misty and then with April and with Brooke, and I feel like my partnership with Brooke, like I'm going to have to be more beastly. I want to be more beastly and more dominant and more at the same time. I want to cultivate the calm within so that I can be these things with Brooke. And then if I can do that, that'll allow her to step up and be the biggest beast she can be. And that's the mission I'm on. If we can do those things, kind of marry the beast with the kind of inner Zen warrior, it's game over.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing you two at the upcoming Olympics. That's for sure.
Thank you.
So I named a few of your partners, but now what I want to talk about are the people you go against, your opponents. Yeah. Who's been your toughest matchup and why?
Well, I have to just say the toughest opponent is like, you're looking at her. Like exactly. If I get out of my own way, and it's so cheesy, but I totally mean that. No. Like I get in my own way more than anybody else in the world. When I get in my own way, which means to me, like I'm not really in charge of my thoughts. I'm kind of letting my mind choose my focus instead of me choosing it. I'm weaker. And then I look at my opponents, my competition as, oh my God, they're amazing. Yeah. When usually I'm like, they're amazing and their greatness is going to bring out my greatness. And I choose me every time, right. And so that being said, the world is just so good. I don't think I could put a name on it. If I were to pick a country, the country that's given me the most grief consistently is Brazil. But I love playing them. Like the higher the seed, the more I love playing. Yeah. And that's why the early rounds are so gnarly, because a lot of times the lower ranked teams have nothing to lose. No one has a bad game against us, exactly. Which makes us better ultimately. But it's like, my God, like give me a break here and there, But the Brazilians are relentless. They are students of the game. The way they train is just very methodical, very process and progression driven. And I've been training with a Brazilian now, a new coach this time around, but a Brazilian since 2009. Okay. So I feel like I'm learning their ways, which helps fortify me in battle, which is good. Yeah.
Well, Kerri, those of us who have been athletes or who are athletes still today can attest to the preparation that it takes for a single game or a given season. However, most of us can attest to the fact of the wide range of emotions that come when competing for your country. Can you detail for us what it's like for you?
Oh, God. You know, I know it's like talking about love. Like, how do you talk about it? You got to feel it. And like, I can, like, literally the national anthem is a top 5 song of mine. I can't drive by the American flag without like winking at it. Like,
Yeah.
I put my hand on my heart, like subconsciously, and I got this question the other day because obviously America's in turmoil right now, and they're
Yeah.
like, does this make you any less proud to be American? Or, when you see that flag, is it tainted? And I'm like, God, no.
Mhm.
Like, we are fighters. We are driven by the American spirit, which is so, so beautiful and so powerful, and to me, so divine.
Mhm.
And so, no, I'm so proud. And I know that whenever American gets in trouble, we stand up, we take accountability, and we work to fix it.
Correct.
Ugly, messy process as we're seeing right now. But man, I am beyond honored to represent our country. I think of our service members. I think of just the legions of amazing humans behind me and who have come before me in our country. And so, no, I just, my dream and what I live in every day is standing on top of the podium with my hand on my heart and my other hand holding Brookie's hand, like,
Yeah.
because we earned it. We earned the national anthem. And I think the best way to represent our country is to go out there and win.
Mhm.
The best way in Rio to go out of that tournament, having lost the semifinal match, was to go out and win and to play with all of our hearts,
Yeah.
for that bronze, which was really hard. And my husband reminded me, he's like, Kerri, you have the American spirit. Like, do not let your country down. And literally that was like maybe that one thing that turned the corner from the devastation and feeling so numb and like, what am I doing? I'm so ashamed. And he's like, stop it. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. You look who you represent.
Mhm.
And anytime in my life that I get called selfish or like I'm wallowing, I'm just like, that's like the opposite of what I want to be. And when he mentioned like, you're representing your country, suck it up, period. Like, end of story. Not that it was easy, but that really helped me turn the corner. So I'm a very proud American. I've been all around the world multiple times. I love traveling the world. What a beautiful education.
Yeah.
So many amazing cultures, and humans like are just beautiful everywhere.
Exactly.
That being said, every time I come home, it's just a different feeling. And again, the American spirit, the love and homage to the individual, individual greatness leading to collective greatness. I think that's something special in the world. So it's exciting.
That's great. I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity.
I'm so sorry. My husband is calling. He loves me. That's a good thing.
I love it. It's a tremendous opportunity to play for your country. But does the pressure ever become overbearing for you in worrying about whether you're going to win or not and disappoint people if you don't win?
No, I mean, like when I'm competing, I'm not thinking about that stuff at all. And like in the lead up to the Olympics, like when you do all this media and you go and have all these shows and you have your partners that you're representing, your sponsors, I'm never thinking about that. Like, I'm thinking about the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, how rad that I have Visa and Lululemon behind me. Like,
Exactly.
of all the companies in the world, those are pretty legit. And how amazing that I'm repping the greatest country in the world. I say that very humbly, America. Like, poor me.
Yeah.
And so I think how you frame things in life is so important. And so those could be very daunting, scary things, if I mess up, like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to disappoint everybody and my partners are going to like want to leave me. But instead of doing it that way, it's like, no, like I have them behind me. I am on their team. They're on my team. Now let's go together and dominate. The pressure comes from within for sure. And everything I just said, being truth, when we lost in Rio, the shame was very real. And the shame for me wasn't necessarily I let my country down. Thank goodness we won, because I feel like I could have felt like that after all was said and done. But after we lost, I was so ashamed. It was really hard for me to look at my family. It was really hard for me to look in the eyes of April's family. And even April, I just wanted to say sorry 1 billion times.
Yeah.
And so that's like a real heavy thing. And what April's like, what are you talking about? Like, we didn't quit. Like, we didn't quit. And she's like, I didn't have the best game either. And, you didn't have the best game, and that's okay. Now we can go and fix it, and like all those things they're meaningful to say out loud. It's just, it was the hardest thing to do and to kind of get through my thick brain, in time, because I was just wallowing in the kind of self-criticism and the shame. So, no. So 99% of the time I'm fueled by optimism and opportunity. At my weakest, I'm definitely that fear and that shame and that doubt creep in. but I get to choose my thoughts. And so I'm really working on being
Yeah,
consistent, choosing the good.
that's great. Well, we applaud you guys for doing that, because we know it isn't easy, for sure.
Oh,
In a previous article, you mentioned that it's a huge benefit to be able to have tournaments all summer long, because it gives you the opportunity to work on your game against actual competition. I bring this up because right now, many of us, you in particular, have been experiencing a longer break than usual, and not playing the tournaments that you're accustomed to playing due to COVID-19. How has that been for you, especially given the fact that you're on your pursuit for your 6th Olympics?
you know, Jared, it is what it is, you know? And so I just think that ultimately it's amazing to have tournaments to stay sharp and to compete. Last year, I think I played in 19 or 20 events.
Wow.
That's a bit much. Not that we couldn't handle it, but it was gnarly, you know? So this is like obviously the polar opposite situation where I have literally zero this year. And so I just have to look for the opportunity within these things that I cannot control. Like my body is healing. The hunger that tends to fade when you've been playing for 20 years, it's back. And it's like on fire. And to me, that is such a major utility that I use in my toolkit to go and dominate and to push through those hard days, to get out of bed when I don't want to, you know, is that hunger. Like it's a gift to be hungry. My goodness. And I think every athlete in the world is probably more hungry and more missing their sport than they ever have. Like that will serve them well if they don't let it defeat them, you know? And so, yeah, for me, it's like when I'm in a situation where I can't control a lot of things, like on the court, I focus on what I can control. You know, my attitude, the way I kind of think about these challenges I'm going through, the way I choose to start my days, that's going to dictate how I live my days, you know, and how I handle stress and duress and the unknown. And I'm just determined and devoted to make it work for me. Brooke is as well. You know, Brooke just had surgery a couple weeks ago, like came out of nowhere. Amazing divine timing. You know, so what I do know fundamentally, because I've just lived 41 plus years of my life, like everything always works out for me. Everything, you know, even the hardest times, it all works out. And to me, it is all for a purpose, because I look for the opportunity within it, you know? So with all of this stuff, even though it's hard, it's been an emotional roller coaster. I've realized a lot of my weaknesses. I have so much work to do.
We all do.
Right. But that's why I'm alive. You know, I'm alive to become and to recognize my failings and my lack and to do something about it if I care enough. And I care, you know, so it's been an inspiring time, even though it's been a very mellow time, which drives me crazy. I just don't like my freedom being taken away. You know, like, my gosh, like I can be on lockdown if it's my choice, but don't tell me I have to be on lockdown, because then I'm just like, no, that's not how we're meant to be. And I look at my kids and all they want to do is run free. And the devastating part, I think, is for the kids. You know, it's gnarly what's happening. And so we talk a lot about mindset and attitude. You know, you're bored, awesome. Like, let's create something to do out of it, you know? So you just got to make the best of it.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up great points. I think with the whole situation that we're going through with COVID-19, I think the benefits of it is the fact that I've been able to connect with more people, my family especially, just because I'm never usually home this often. So for me to be here, I've been able to connect with them. And I think also in the beginning stages of COVID-19, when everything was literally closed down, you know, you couldn't go to a facility, a basketball gym and play or practice. I think, like you just said, it brought that hunger back into me. Not that I lost it, but it was just like brought a whole nother side of me out. So it's like now I'm like really ready and I'm really training for this upcoming season. I think as athletes, I think those are the things that we kind of take away from this situation.
100%. No, I love that you said that. It just made me think, like, my performance psychologist is like, Kerri, if you can get 1% better at every single skill, you know, how many skills are there in volleyball? And it's like that 1% more hunger in your case, for me, might be 10%. Like, oh my gosh.
Exactly.
We already live up here.
Exactly.
So our 1 percentage point is gnarly. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to watch you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm also glad you brought up another point, which is the fact that you need to control what you can control. And I learned that when I was in college, and it's gone with me ever since. So I just want to say thank you for shouting that out for our viewers, because that's something that's very powerful and helps me move forward in life, no matter what obstacles come.
Totally. Well, have you ever heard of Jordan Peterson?
I have.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. Jordan B.
Tell me
Peterson.
something. Yeah.
He's a social psychologist, and he has a book called The 12 Rules for Life, The Antidote to Chaos.
Okay.
And I just love that title, but everything is about ownership. It's kind of like Jocko Willink, like extreme ownership. Like if you can like own every situation you're in, like you chose it, like your whole system fortifies yourself to go and like step up to the challenge. But if you allow yourself to feel victimized by it, even if it's the worst situation ever, even if you are literally the victim, like choosing to say, I got this, I own this, empowers you to, lead your way through that. And to me, the antidote to all uncertainty is how can I show up? Who do I want to be? And then to take ownership of that. So everything you just said, if you can do that in every situation in your life, you're dope. Like people are and you're going to inspire others to do the same.
Exactly.
I don't want to wait for someone to be my hero. Like
Exactly.
ever.
Time for that.
No, I don't. And it's just, there's too many unknowns. And like, I like showing up in my life. And so I love that mindset. I think that if you on your podcast, me in my life can encourage people to have that ownership and to be excited by it. Like there's so much purpose in that, you know?
That's powerful. And I'm going to go get that book. So thank you for telling me.
So good. You're welcome. He's rad.
All right, I will. I found it cool to see that your husband mentioned that you should play another Olympics after 2021. How has it been? How has it been having a true life partner support you in what you love to do and urge you to keep playing as long as you desire?
Priceless. I mean, shocking. When he said that, I was like, who are you? What did you do with my husband?
Are you sure?
I know. Well, it's a lot. Like, after every Olympics, people are, you going back? And the past couple, I'm like, I have to think about this because it's not just me. And it, in so many ways, it's such a selfish pursuit. Like to be an athlete, like how much of your focus is on yourself? All of it.
A lot.
And it should be that way. Like it's beautiful. And I think even if you're not an athlete, it should be that way. But my job takes me away for 6 weeks at a time. My job makes it so the most interaction I have on many weeks is just a FaceTime call for 3 minutes, and that gets hard. And for my husband, who's an athlete, who is a really big relationship guy, thank goodness, it's hard on him. It's very hard on him. And then to have 3 kids without me. So it's just, he's such a devoted man, and he's such a big fan and advocate for me. Before Rio, he said, babe, I hope you know that my goal is for you to win a gold medal. I'm going to do everything I can do. And I made it my mind in that moment that I'm going to give him the medal. And I thought I had no doubt that it was going to be gold. So I can't wait to substitute the bronze for the gold on the way to Tokyo, because without him, no, it's nothing, and I'm empowered by my man, and he loves me. And when I'm home, I can't wait to make his life easier and just to support him in his dreams, because a man needs a purpose and focus, and he needs to feel like the man in the family. And I want to be everything he needs me to be, because he is everything and more that I need and that I want. He's a rad man. He's truly a man, like showing up for his kids every single day. He cares. He does things on purpose. Like he's rad.
That's truly beautiful. And shout out to your husband for being so awesome.
Yeah. You'll meet him one day. He's a good one.
I look forward to it. Now, one thing I find interesting about sports as an athlete is that we're always expected to perform at a high level, but our spectators may not know everything that's going on behind the scenes. You hear countless stories of professional athletes, especially the great ones, who have played and gotten over the hump, when maybe they weren't at 100% health. Michael Jordan, for instance, when he was what they call the flu game, fighting through the illness, and then
the food poisoning game.
The pizza, maybe, we don't know. But then also Kobe Bryant, who we know, who has battled through countless injuries but still has continued to play. Has there been a time that you can recall where you weren't fully healthy and you grinded through to keep competing? And if so, what was in your mind that ultimately motivated you to keep going?
Oh man, I mean, I've been very healthy in my career, but I've been very hurt also. And the chronic injuries are the worst. Like I've dislocated my shoulder. I've had 6 shoulder surgeries. Those were way easier to deal with than a twisted ankle. Wow. I think it's Muhammad Ali, maybe Bruce Lee, two of my favorites. But he says, it's not the mountain in front of you, it's the pebble in your shoe. You know, it's the little things that can really hold you back. And something that's chronic in a negative way is so gnarly. But that being said, you know, in college, I played almost a whole season left-handed because my shoulder was so broken. And I was able to do that because I believed I could. And my whole team rallied around me. My coaches believed in me. And I found out how to be creative. It was so rad, so weird. You know, I've played many tournaments in the world tour left-handed. And, you know, I finished a game after I dislocated my shoulder, put it back in, and we finished the game because I thought winning that game would be important to Olympic qualifying. And because I could, you know, it's like, there's sometimes I've dislocated where I can't put it, I can't even move it. But it's like my system was like, no, you can finish this game. And I did. And it's just, you know, it's pain and that purpose that we talked about, like huge catalyst. And it's like an anesthetic. You know, like when you want something so bad, that pain, like I've played with broken fingers, like everything, just gross stuff. But it's kind of the fun part of being an athlete, you know, like you're shown what you're made of and how bad you want stuff. And, but that's why I think it's so important. Like you do what you got to do on the court. Like I've shown up and have been like 50% energy because I'm sick or whatever it is. But so my job is to bring 100% of that 50%. Right. And then just to be creative, I can't jump because of an ankle thing. I have to be weird and be okay with it, you know? So that's kind of my mindset with that stuff. And I've lived so much now where I know it's possible, you know? And once you know it's possible, then you keep going.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Kerri, I have a little cousin named Kaylin, and she plays volleyball in high school, and she has aspirations to play volleyball in college. What advice can you give to Kaylin and all the girls who are in high school that have ambitions to play at that next level?
Oh, go all in, Kaylin, with all your heart. And I would say master the fundamentals. You know, just be a Jedi, have the best ball control, have the best attitude, everything that you control it. Can control it within your game. You know, I've talked to over 5,000 students and athletes since COVID started. And so many of the questions I get are, Kerri, how do I make myself stand out? And how do I jump higher and all these things? And I'm like, you guys, what I think we need to get back to is just knowing that if you look at Kobe, LeBron, Steve Nash, who played at Santa Clara, who's so rad, Misty May, you know, all these amazing athletes, they never lose sight of the fundamentals. Because they know that the ABCs, the stronger those are, they can live up in the XYZs, you know, instinctually. And they just keep leveling up on top of that foundation of love and foundation of ABCs. And so my recommendation to all the up and comers, whatever your craft is, volleyball for sure, is just to take time and master the fundamentals, and then master the fundamentals of yourself. Like know who you are, know why you're chasing what you're chasing. Because if you have a strong why, again, you can endure anything. You can literally, you can endure heartbreak and broken bones and setbacks because you have that purpose, which is beautiful. And you just need to practice these things, you know, because for some people it's inherent. Like I'm a positive person naturally, but some people have to work really hard to be positive. And so what I talk to these girls, I'm like, which I've learned through my performance psychologist, is just like own yourself, love yourself, and know that confidence comes from one place and one place only. And it's the way you talk to yourself. So as you're becoming great, as you're like challenging your potential and failing so you can grow, you have to speak to yourself in a way where you're your biggest cheerleader. I mess up, no worries, Kerri, get the next one. Whatever can make, like, neutralize the mistake and that inner critic and bring it back to the moment, that's powerful on the court and off the court. A lot of people just want to hit the hardest. They want the one drill that's going to make them jump forward just, you know, higher. And it's like, no, just be where you are, train train your focus, and then train your whole system, your holistic system to master the fundamentals. You'll be an asset on every team at every level.
Yeah. That's huge. Thank you for sharing that. I think, like you said, bringing it back to the basics and being whole with yourself is truly what will make you stand out. And like you said, I see this in basketball too, like you said, with the younger kids. It seems like in this generation right now, it seems like the basics aren't exactly as important as they used to be. And everybody, like you said, is always worried about, oh, how high can I jump? Or, you know, I want to be able to do this move. But before you can do any of that, you have to master, you know, what leads up to that. And I think that's something that I understood when I was growing up. And it's something that my trainer that I work with now, that we still focus on. Like, people would probably come into our training sessions and be like, oh, wow, you're still working on this. But, you know, you're already at this level and you're still working on this. because that's what it takes. And that's what I notice continues to make me better. And when I'm out there playing against my opponents, it's like I see what they're lacking, and they're really just the fundamentals that you learn in the beginning. So I think that's huge.
That's so good, man. If your fundamentals are sharp, it's just, then whatever, like it gets harder and faster and higher, and all these new elements come at you as you level up. But if you are sharp in your foundation, it's like all bets are off, you know? And if you, same thing with me, like if you were to show up to my practice, the first hour is on the most tedious, ridiculous looking stuff.
Exactly.
But that's where the magic is.
That's where it is.
And that's where you create your rhythm also.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to teach my boys, my husband and I are teaching our boys, and it's like, go for control before power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same thing. Like if you're playing catch, if you're shooting hoops, like my dad, when I played high school basketball, he'd be like, Kerri, go around the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
That little drill you do, but he's like, start 2 feet away from the basket and then go 4. And then, you know, like start close and then develop all that stuff. And it's kind of the same metaphor with regard to the ABCs.
Yeah. I literally do the same exact thing. I'm right here, you know, in front of the basket, 2 feet away from the basket, and I'm only using one hand, just working on my form.
Right.
And people know me for shooting 3-pointers, but I'm not out. I'm not, the first thing I do when I get in the gym is not go to shoot 3-pointers. It's to make sure that my rhythm stays the exact same, and ultimately that'll help my shot stay consistent throughout the whole season. That's
so rad, man. Yeah, you're training your defaults.
Exactly.
Your habits are what you default to in times of pressure. And so in times of pressure, I want to go back to basic because that just allows me to respond to anything.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just, I love hearing that. Good reinforcement.
Thank you. I'm sure my cousin Kaylin and all the high school girls out there will definitely use your advice. For sure.
Good luck to Kaylin. God bless.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, throughout the course of your career, what have you found to be the challenges and beauty of being a mother, a wife, and an athlete?
Oh, heck. I mean, the beauty is just off the charts. Yeah. The inspiration, the love, like after every kid, it's like, I don't know if I can love another kid as much as I do, you know, and now I have these 2, like, how could I love more? And it just, my heart keeps growing. It's like the Grinch, like all of that is so true. Like, I feel like as we add more responsibility, as you add more purpose in your life, our whole system grows to meet it. You know, and so that's been the beauty of my entire journey on the court and off the court, is that I just keep becoming more, again, all fueled by the heart that I have and the love in my heart. So that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. The challenges are just like, I can handle pain. Like I'm a coper, you know, and not that I love it, but I can handle it. The kind of the psychological and the emotional challenges, you know, like you asked who my biggest opponent is, 100% it's me. And it's just when I get in those modes of self-doubt and fear, anything built in fear is inherently less. It's on, you know, it's a house built on sand. Like it's not good in any way. And the challenges have been when I have chosen, I guess, to live in that state of fear for too long. Yeah. You know, and then I make decisions based in fear. And you know, I'm like playing not to lose instead of like, no, dude, I'm going for this, you know? And so those ultimately are the things that wound my heart because it's just not who I am. You know, I feel like if you live something and it didn't feel right, it's because it's not who you are. You know, like I've lost and not been okay with it, but been more okay because like I gave everything I had. Like, what am I going to do? You know, but losing from fear is just literally a nightmare on earth. So I feel like heaven and hell are here on earth. The heaven I've lived has been my creating, supported by my people and my situation. The hell on earth has been all my creating. You know, and so the biggest challenges have been, again, living in the fear and just not knowing really how to get out of it. And when I go really deep and low, I always look outside of myself, and which is awesome, I guess, because like there's so much wisdom and love, but I always eventually am like, come back to myself. And I'm like, God, that took 6 months too long. Like, why didn't I just sit with my pain and write about it? And like, what am I afraid of? Like, let me stare at this, because when you shine a light in the scary corner, it's not as scary, you know? So I've learned those lessons and I keep learning them, but those are the hardest parts. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the great thing about social media when following athletes that I like to follow, is the fact that we can see the family side, the family aspect of things. And we know, as an athlete, I know everything that they're going through with their sport and everything that it requires. But to see you guys also spend so much time and love your family, I think it's amazing. So I know there's challenges, but I know the beauty definitely outweighs the challenges for sure.
Yeah. Well, so I took that question, the answer the other way. So the challenges with my family are just leaving them. Like
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
leaving them is
I was gonna
so
say,
hard.
you mentioned that earlier, the distance.
Yeah, no, but leaving them for one day is hard. And that you might be like, no, I kind of call BS. Like it might be a nice escape, but no, it's like, they're my people and it fuels my heart. You know, I had this moment last year where I was getting ready for a trip and I had been crying all morning, but I didn't want to be crying in front of my kids. And, you know, and I was about to take a picture for leaving with my daughter and she's bawling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was smiling, you know, I take a picture and then we met each other on the road 4 weeks later. And she goes, Mom, I have to ask you something. She says, before we left, we took a picture. And in the picture, I'm crying because you're leaving and you're smiling because you're leaving. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that is so gnarly. That's what she took from that,
Yeah.
you know? And so it was a great conversation. And I was so grateful that she expressed that to me because that could ruin your life. Like my mom is stoked to be leaving me for 6 weeks.
Exactly.
God, that would crush me. So that's the hardest part. And
Yeah.
my kids are just so present in my life. And I'm so their biggest fans along with my husband. So leaving them is really hard. But it's a choice. I'm not a victim. I have to take the good with the challenging, but that's the most challenging times a billion.
Yeah. Well, I can tell Scott is such a lover, like you said, just from noticing that. The fact that she said that, that's pretty big to hear from a little kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. And she didn't do it in a way to make me guilty. She was just like, what's up with it?
Yeah, she was just wondering. Well, Kerri, I think it's really cool what you do with Platform 1440, the digital platform built around the sport and culture of beach volleyball that you and your husband co-founded. How did you guys come up with the name and what have you been able to achieve from this platform?
Oh man, well, can you see the name right there?
I saw that back there. That's why I was waiting to get to this question.
It's so good. I should have it plugged in. You know, we're a platform. So Platform 1440, because we're not just an event series and we're not just a digital platform. Like we want to be a platform for the whole world. You know, we want to be digital so we can scale, but we know the heart and soul of us is in our live events. And so we're both sides of that equation. And then 1440 comes from the fact that there's only 1440 minutes in the day. And we want to inspire everyone to live mindfully. You know, to really like look at time as sacred, because as we all know, as we've discussed in this podcast, is that like, if you can take care of your now, man, you're powerful and life is good. And so if we can take, you know, if we can inspire people to, you know, train and love themselves, body, mind, and spirit, to own their time, to be thoughtful of how they spend their time. Like 1440 for me is like the filter through which my husband and I create our lives. You know, I'm really bad at this, but I try not to say yes to anything that's going to take away from my 1440, the priorities within my 1440, you know, so it's very powerful. And we wanted our platform to be way bigger than sport, you know, like the lessons I've learned from sport have far transcended the court, like far times a bajillion, you know? So as we grow our digital media company, as we grow our events, our number one objectives are to serve the community, to create opportunities for these athletes to perform and to compete and to develop. And then online, we're basically, you know, we want to be the trusted go-to resource center to develop yourself, body, mind, and spirit, and volleyball. You know, in my opinion, if you're just training your body, then, you know, you're leaving a lot on the table, you know, with regard to your mind and your spirit. If you're only training your mind, you're going to be weak, you know, and your spirit's not going to be fortified. So you have to train that trinity, and then focus on your craft. And in my opinion, it's such a beautiful way to live life. And we're servicing people who don't even like volleyball, but they just love trying something new and they're inspired by what we're offering. And so it's a really beautiful mission. And thank you for asking about it.
For sure. I think it was so fitting that just a couple of days ago, I saw a couple of my friends who I went to Santa Clara University with. They had on some shirts that had the 1440 logo on there. And I was like, let me zoom in real quick. I said, I know I've been looking at that logo for the last 2 weeks, you know, preparing everything. And I was just like, wow, they got the shirts. I said, that's really awesome. I said, it's fitting that I'm getting ready to interview you in a couple.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It inspires. I love that. Whenever I see anyone rocking our gear, I'm like, oh, that's so good looking. It's so good.
That's awesome. Well, Kerri, I'll end with this question, as I do with all my guests. What's the greatest lesson you've learned in life, and how has it helped you moving forward?
Oh, golly.
It's always a tough one. I always get people with this one.
It is, man. Well, fundamentally, if I pair back all the lessons that I've learned, like all my life experience, I think the biggest lesson that I've come away with is that anything in my life, anything having to do with me, it all comes down to me. Period. My happiness, my success, my failures, my growth, I cannot rely on anything outside of me, because that is like, what if it goes away? What if my parents aren't there cheering in the crowd? Am I still going to like believe in myself, and all these things. So I think inherently we all are the one, like we are all the one we've been waiting for.
Yep.
And to me, it's like what we talked about earlier, like taking ownership, and stepping up to the situations in our lives and focusing on what we can control as an individual. That if I can be the raddest individual I can be, I can service my family, I can service my world, I can deal with and thrive through all of my situations. But it's all on me. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's an exciting thing. It's not like this huge, like heavy burden I have to carry. It's like dope. Mm-hmm. I don't have to wait. I am my own hero. I believe I can do that. And fundamentally, this is fueled with the knowing that my performance psychologist gave me this quote, and I fully believe it. Everything I need is already inside of me. Mm-hmm. I believe that of myself. I believe that of you. I know that everyone in this world is equipped with everything they need. Mm-hmm. You have to be curious about it, and you have to be courageous enough in those moments to tap into that. Mm-hmm. So everything that we talked about today is my process to fortify myself, so that time in and time out, I know that I am the one. Mm-hmm. And I don't look outside of myself. So I think that's my biggest lesson.
Yeah. Well, in talking to you today, I can tell that you're really wired and locked in, and it's been very inspiring for myself, because, I can take the things, the gems and the lessons that you've dropped in this interview and take that moving forward for myself, and my audience can do the same. So I appreciate you teaching us a lot on this episode.
Oh, well, none of it's original, but I've made it my own. So thank you for this opportunity. Like, you're rad at what you do, and I'm so excited for you, and I'm honored to be on your program. So thank you for the time and the thoughtfulness.
Oh, no problem. We appreciate having you, and we look forward to rooting you on at the upcoming Olympics. And to my audience, thank you as always for tuning in to JB & Co. And enjoy the weekend and stay safe.